Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Supernatural Selection. I'm your host, Kevin the Bastard. With me this week is Mike the Skeptic. Mike, how are you doing?
Not again. I seem to be tied to a chair again. Why? What's going on?
Okay, this time it wasn't me. I think this may be David to keep you from running away.
You know, you're saying something about breaking me, and now I'm tied to a chair.
That's different. Okay, it's not different. Yes, Mike is tied to a chair. We do not have David with us this week. He is ill. He has a cold, and his throat is all scratchy, so we're giving him a week off. So next week, we're going to do the previously planned episode. This week, we have a special presentation from Supernatural Selection. Welcome to Breaking Mike.
You shouldn't have such a glint of glee in your eye when you say that.
Well, I'm just darned excited. So the basic idea is no notes, no prep work, no holds barred. I'm going to explain a concept I barely understand myself currently, and me and Mike are going to discuss it. Now, before we do that, at the top of the program for housekeeping, I want to say that first off, there is a new store. We had a problem with our old store in that every time someone ordered a product, it charged me.
So you were paying people, paying for people's
No,
stuff?
they were taking money from the customer, then taking my money and then giving me back the little bit I made off of the product.
Wait, how does that even work as a business?
How is that legal? And that is why that store is no longer up. So
I wouldn't say it's not legal. I'm sure they have it in their TOS or whatever. It just
Sure.
sounds like, why would someone want to use that?
Well, it said print on demand. I've used a lot of print on demand services. I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah.
I have never dealt with anything quite like that before. It was ridiculous. So that is now gone. We now have a Redbubble shop it's actually part of my old Everywin Comics store. But you can find new awesome merchandise with art that David Davis has done. And I did the inking, he did the pencils and coloring. It all turned out fantastic. It is some great art of the three of us as cryptids. I'm a gray, Mike is a drinking Sasquatch, and David is, of course, Hopkinsville Goblin.
I take umbrage in the fact that I'm depicted as being hairy. No, I am hairy. Not that hairy, though.
You're not that hairy.
I'm not
but
hirsute.
I just thought it was funny that, it just turned out so darn well. So, you can find that on our site because the URL for the store is ridiculous. So go to supernatpod.rocks, click on store, and you can get shirts, magnets, hats, all sorts of fun stuff.
Sorry, the cat is being a spaz.
Yes. Ginger is all about getting some attention at the moment.
Well, she's like standing on things that slide, and so she's sliding all over the place.
Fantastic. So, back to the topic at hand, Breaking Mike. So, Mike.
Yeah?
We're going to talk about the super spectrum.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. So, as you know, David and I have both brought up the super spectrum many, many times. Mm-hmm. Often it's just sort of a catch-all for whatever the hell.
Yeah.
And I've never truly understood what it was until I got a book recently called The Eighth Tower by John Keel. John Keel being a famous researcher. He broke the Mothman story, as it were. He wrote the book, The Mothman Prophecies, that the movie was based on, loosely. And he's the guy. He writes some of my favorite books because they all have things like in the Mothman Prophecies, there's a great part where he's talking to a woman. He keeps talking about the attractiveness of the different women he talks to while researching. Like, well, she was an attractive woman, but let me tell you, she wasn't going to win any Raquel Welch lookalike contests.
So he doesn't go as far as to, like, give him a numeric score?
No. No, and he never uses terms like "uggo" or anything, but like he's definitely got an interest in the ladies. And this book that I'm reading, The Eighth Tower, how to put it, it's sort of a culmination of John Keel being fed the fuck up with the UFO community. Like, Mike, I've talked to you about this before, how UFO researchers do not get along.
Okay.
Like,
Yes.
yeah, MUFON and NICAP and all these other groups that existed over the years, they do not get along. And that continues to this day. UFO researchers are not friends. Okay? We'll just say that right up front.
Okay. So like the Simpsons, they're like the Scottish.
Oh, yes.
Scots don't get along with anyone, including
Yes.
other Scots.
Yeah, it's basically if Willie were a UFO researcher, he hit the nail on the head. And he got pissed off about it, as one does when you're out there trying to find truth. And they also have this tendency to come up with theories based on no evidence whatsoever. Like, I don't know, here's an idea: the alien military-industrial complex that we've discussed. There's the evidence behind that is, well, it wouldn't stand up in a court of law. It wouldn't even stand up in a crooked court of law. And John got really tired of that and a lot of other researchers, and he started developing this theory. And there's some marginal evidence to support it, but we'll get into that. So the superspectrum is, as me and David have explained it, what do you know about it?
Not much. Every little bit you've said, basically anything, it's all from things you said.
Uh-huh.
And it sounds just batshit pants on head.
Okay, yes, right. Okay. The basic idea that me and David understood it was that the super spectrum is a separate world sort of on top of ours. And that entities that he refers to as ultra-terrestrials shift into our reality. And they wear different masks depending on human belief.
So this is just like extra-dimensional fifth dimension crap.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is where it came from.
It's like a fancy way of saying all that.
Uh-huh, yeah. And, Keel sort of really helped define this idea. So, the problem is we're wrong. Sort of. I've been reading this book, and it's dense. It's hard to grasp in places. But the idea...
That's what she said.
Oh, curse you. That was awful.
Yeah.
So the basic idea, and just I want you to strap in for this next statement, Mike.
That's what she said. Sorry.
You're gonna die. Just so you know. So
Yes.
the electromagnetic spectrum is the super spectrum. It just goes further than we can perceive. Visible light and radio waves and all that shit being on there. Okay, so the ultra-terrestrials exist in the much further bands of the electromagnetic spectrum. They're here, but we can't perceive them because of their vibrations, I guess. Not to get all woo-woo about it, but it's beyond the infrared and the ultraviolet.
So which way? You can't be both. It's not
Well, from what John Keel says that I've picked up so far, is it's past the infrared.
So they're just like really hot. No.
It moves beyond that. But here's the thing. His reasoning behind this is and I personally have not really read a lot of this, but John Keel's read more UFO reports and seen more UFOs when he was alive and talked to more UFO witnesses than I'll ever think about. He says that most UFOs, and we'll get into this later, but like even ghosts and shit like that, they fade in as like a red blob going through the color spectrum until they hit our wavelength.
Yeah.
Which is, apparently that's kind of true. They go through sort of a Doppler shift thing.
Well, I mean, Doppler shift is just a natural property of anything that's in motion.
Right. I understand that, but it goes through the visible light spectrum as it materializes.
So the EM spectrum's not a place one can live.
Yeah, but these are not biological entities, is the other thing. They're not biological entities. They appear to be biological entities, but they're not biological entities. When they get here, they take on forms that we can perceive just by, what we believe at the time.
Well, so here's a thing.
Okay.
Is that what you're talking about is direct energy to matter conversion, which if you can do that, why would you even mess around with anything else? Because you're just like, you're not even a god. You're just, you could do anything.
Yeah, no.
So why would you even give a shit about, people,
now,
humans?
Good question. Part of the reason he says that they do this is because they're sort of symbiotic with us.
But like I said, they can do anything, so they don't need us.
I don't know. It's strange. They and I'm not saying I subscribe to this any longer after reading the full thing of it. But the idea is that they come and do this stuff, and Keel freely admits, I have no idea why they would do this, because, they're unknowable. They're from another dimension. They're not human. They're not even remotely human. They have their own reasons for doing things.
Oh, they're the aliens of the Gap.
What?
You never heard of the God of the Gap?
No.
God of the Gap is just a thing that says that, well, think back like, in even before medieval times, prehistory, when religion was first created.
Long time ago.
So God was basically everything that was unknown and unknowable. But as we learned more and more, God lived in this, smaller and smaller space of, our knowledge. Yeah, a gap in our knowledge. So God of the Gap just means that God is just everything we don't understand.
And what would God need with a starship?
So and these are, since they're unknowable, they're aliens of the Gap.
Yes, that's a perfect way to put it. But like one of the theories is that like they're symbiotic with us. They exist and their world exists because we exist. But also he ties like ghosts into the super spectrum because they affect electromagnetic electronic equipment.
So
one of his other things he says. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, you go ahead.
I was going to say one of the other things he points out is the radiation incidents from UFO manifestations, like the grass seeming fine under a UFO, but when you investigate, like the roots are burned. He's saying that's from microwave radiation as it shifts over. And then there's like the whole ionizing radiation exposure thing that you and me were talking about. What was it, last week?
Yeah.
All this comes from these things shifting through the EM band.
Okay. So the EM spectrum is, well, not exactly. Okay, never mind. so my that thought there did not.
I see. I'm already breaking you a
No,
little. That's
no.
fine.
I just I realized I was about to say something that was not quite true.
Okay, well that's hey,
But,
hey, that's better than a lot of the people I read
But
about.
so what I had been going to say earlier, what was that? Oh no, I think I lost it.
Well, maybe you'll pick it back up as I go.
No, it was shit. Damn it, I almost had it.
Okay. Well, one of the other things he talks about is psychics,
Oh yeah, it was ghosts.
ghosts.
So if ghosts are part of the super spectrum, does that mean these aliens are angels
Sometimes.
or
Yes.
demons?
Yes. Depending on what time in human history they're being observed.
Okay.
They, you know, in the past they were perceived as the Fae or angels and demons, and now they're seen as aliens and reptilians and shit, and ghosts. And psychics are tapping into the super spectrum. Is how they get their psychic powers. They get in there, and all of our brains are hooked into the super spectrum. But some people's brains are more open to it, so they can pull in information and exude information into other people. And somehow that's also how telekinesis works.
So you mean the psychics that famously have never come forward and taken the Amazing Randy's prize?
Yes. Yeah. No. Ingo Swann. His head was dunked in the super spectrum constantly. But I do find this kind of interesting since I got done reading Whitley Strieber. You know, Strieber's big thing is I don't know that they're aliens. I don't know what they are. And he also doesn't know if they're like part of human experience. He kind of, without ever having read John Keel, describes the idea of the ultra-terrestrial without really getting into the whole super spectrum part of it. And I do love the term ultra-terrestrial.
Just makes them seem, you know, like they're the Chad of aliens.
Yeah, or the Chad of Earth.
No, I'm just saying the aliens, you know, of all
you're
the
right.
extraterrestrials. Then you have the ultra, they're just one above.
The Chad terrestrials.
Yeah.
Chad terrestrials. I like that. But it's a very difficult concept, and a lot of it, he spends a lot of his time talking about science, and then throws the super spectrum in to make you seem like it works. Does that make sense? Like, he spends a lot of time. You remember when we were talking about Marconi?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really see how that connected with anything he was talking about except when he was trying to explain the EM spectrum.
So see, you know, you see a lot of this in pretty much any, what would you call them? Shyster? Anyone that's trying to push something.
Here's the thing about John Keel is I don't know how much of a shyster he was so much as he was, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, well, but I today just watched a video about moral panics.
Moral panics?
Yeah, you know, like the satanic panic,
Oh,
the rock
yes,
and roll
yes,
panic,
God.
and D&D,
Okay, right, gotcha.
and you know, more recent ones like you know, the LGBT panics that are currently going on.
Yeah, and
how
the 5G.
But how they start with a nugget of truth and just
blow
twist it for their own purposes.
Right.
So any good, trying to think of a good term for it, because you know these panics are, you know, meant to whip people up, but
hysteria.
But no, just like anything that lies. I mean, You know,
Oh.
when you take a bit of truth
Rabble rousing.
and use it to, you know, further some form of agenda or message or
Yeah.
something.
I know what you mean, and there is a term for that I can't think of off.
But yeah, it all seems to be whether what your intention is good
Yeah.
or not, what your message is true or not. A lot of times not true, obviously, but you know, you could believe it's true, but you're
Sure.
just deluded.
Oh yeah, like Bill Cooper
Yeah,
as opposed to Alex Jones.
yeah.
Yeah, like okay,
But a lot,
yeah.
like my point is just a lot of this starts with, you know, a nugget of truth that gets perverted
Sure.
for an end.
Sure, and I don't want to, completely shit on all of Keel's ideas necessarily, except for the whole super spectrum part of it now. And that's sad, because I really love the idea. I think the superstructure, like reality being a multi-layered structure, is a much better hypothesis than it's ghosts in your toast in your microwave.
Okay. We can agree to disagree.
Okay, but like, which would you believe more? An alternate reality somewhat connected to ours, or ghosts hiding in the radio?
How about that ghosts don't exist at all?
Okay. Thank you for that. I keep forgetting who I'm talking to. But see, I know I said no notes. I should have made some notes. But like, Keel is really it's obviously the product of a man who has been researching the paranormal for like the time this book came out, maybe 30 years, and is just about done with other people's bullshit.
Yeah.
And I can also, like, I don't agree, like I said, anymore with the super spectrum, but, like, I understand where he's coming from, because, like, you get this idea, and you don't tell anybody this idea, but you're working on it, and then you put the book out, and then everybody's going, electric aliens?
No, electric youth.
Oh, yes, Debbie Gibson.
Yes.
So, yeah, the most interesting part of the entire book so far has been the stuff about Marconi and the death ray, and Mussolini just like creaming his jeans over the fact that every fuck up he made was a way to use it in the war somehow. Like, I can shut down automobiles. Mussolini's sitting there going, really?
So yeah, we were talking about this before. It's like Marconi's death was probably a good thing on the whole.
Yeah,
As
no.
Mussolini with like proto EMP
Technology?
things that
Holy
are able
shit.
to like, you know, disrupt aircraft in flight.
God, everybody on this show right now has got like giant flimmy frogs in their throat. What
Yeah.
the fuck?
Well,
But-
I just ate some chocolate. So.
yeah, okay, that's fair. No, totally. I mean, like, shit, he would have been a threat to Germany.
I'm surprised that it stopped with him, like after he died, that they didn't like
Well,
try to
I
continue.
wonder if it was a matter of nobody had the skill to keep going with that
I mean, you think they'd be able
in
to
Italy.
get his notes and his equipment and like
His notes
maybe
disappeared,
Italy
Mike.
fell.
No, it's not just that. One of the things it points out is that his notes disappeared. And it's obvious Mussolini didn't get a hold of those notes. And one of the things he did before he died was he had a private audience with the Pope at the time. I think that was Pope Pius, wasn't it? The one that was involved in all the Nazi war atrocities.
I don't know.
And, like, when the
So-
war ended, it was like, here, you Nazis, you come on and through. We get you to South America.
So you're saying is all of Marconi's notes are in the archive?
Either burned or in the archives, yeah. Actually, to tie it back into another episode,
So-
he had a very long meeting with the Pope, and Marconi's daughter said, no one's ever going to know what happened in that room.
So maybe the Vatican's like, yes, we could support, but we can't let Mussolini have this shit. Give it to us.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's totally a thing that could have happened. Because, shit, I can imagine being the Pope going, yeah, I can't take direct action here, but we can definitely hide the death ray plans.
Well, it wasn't death
You know
rays.
what I mean, though.
I know. I mean, everyone says,
Well-
Tesla death rays. And all. This was more of,
Well, no, remember, there was the experiments in microwaves where he killed, like, every animal within a radius of his home, of his workshop.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that was, more long term. It wasn't an instant death ray. It was like if you're in the same spot for, 5 minutes, you die.
Sure, which I'm wondering how the hell he survived.
I mean, probably because he was in some kind of protected area, or he just being near the transmitter. So, EM radiation.
Is this one of those things where there's like an eye of the storm?
Yeah,
And if you're in there, you're fine, but outside of that, like, 2-foot
if you
area,
think about
everything roasts.
If you think about it, if he was using a tall antenna, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the emission
Out and not down. Yeah.
the emission from it is basically going to be like a donut. Mm-hmm. In the middle, it's kind of pinched, so it's
Yeah. That's kind of what I thought, but
not
I didn't
a
want to
complete
say it.
sphere.
Right.
Antennas radiate more towards their sides than they do up and down.
Man, can you imagine how Marconi figured out that he was doing something wrong before he found the animals? Like, hey, what the hell happened to my chocolate bar? Why is it all melty? And thus M&Ms were born. So, I don't know. I didn't think about it till you said it, the thing about the Vatican archives. Now I'm like, ooh.
Well, I mean, that's the apocryphal tale. I don't remember if it's true or not of how the microwave was born.
Oh, yeah, the dude with the candy bar in his
He would,
pocket, he is working on, like, microwave long-distance towers or something.
Yeah, the old long-distance feed horns. So, so kids out there, if you've ever been out in the country, you see these big towers with these weird-looking... They look kind of like... They do look like horns. They look like kind of like a ram's horn or something.
Uh-huh.
Like, because it gets really narrow pointing down, but it goes up and kind of turns 90 degrees.
Yeah.
What they would do is there would just be this, instead of stringing wire, all this distance, they would just have these series of relay towers that would, shuttle around phone calls.
Yeah.
They were high-powered microwaves.
Now,
And the apocryphal tale is that an engineer was up on one of these on a cold night, and he would stand in front of the feed horn to warm up because
it was warm.
Yeah, he found it got warm there, and he had a chocolate bar in his pocket, and it melted. And through that, I don't think he built it, but he probably told somebody, and then they were like,
probably. Hey guys, my candy bar melts when I stand in front of the bugle horn thing.
And it makes me feel funny. I
Hey,
can't do that accent.
Hey, has anybody got this thing where the balls don't work anymore? If every time I stand in front of the horn, it's warm and everything, but then like my balls make a sizzling noise? Is that normal?
I have to wonder, I mean, microwaves aren't ionizing, which
No.
we talked about, so he wouldn't have any like cancer, but
speaking
he is
of
cooking himself slowly.
If you don't know what ionizing radiation is, Mike, can you tell the people what ionizing is?
All right, so ionizing, Kevin, do you know what an ion is? All right, so an ion is basically an atom that has had one or more electrons stripped away from it.
Okay, so if it's got 6 electrons and it's supposed to have 6 electrons and it knocks off, say, 4 of them.
Well, so you knock off enough, you turn into another element. But there are some that where if you lose just enough, you're like kind of in between. But anyway, yeah. So ionizing radiation just means that it's radiation that has enough energy to when it hits other atoms, it can knock electrons off and turn that from whatever it was from whatever it was, say, like, hydrogen or carbon or whatever, into an ion of said element. And when you're talking about living material, that's kind of bad.
Yeah.
Like, say, so
We
your
need
DNA,
that shit.
Your DNA made up of, molecules. If one of the
Adenine,
molecules
cytosine,
and a molecule
guanine.
is made up of atoms, if one of the atoms of that molecule, say it's a carbon, molecule,
Mm-hmm.
and it loses an electron, well, suddenly that carbon atom now has less hold, it has less energy, less covalence. That's the word I'm looking for. Atoms have covalent bonds to their other atoms.
Right.
If it loses an electron,
That's
it
what
has,
holds it together.
yeah, it has less
structure.
bonding energy to the other atoms in the molecule, and it can break apart. And suddenly
Mm-hmm.
your DNA has just like split in half.
Yeah.
And so if your DNA is damaged like that, well, that's how you get cancer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
ionizing radiation is basically the bad stuff that can give you cancer.
Yes, and there's like an entire UFO abduction I'm going to talk about in the future. Not abduction, I'm sorry. I'm so used to following up
Incident.
UFO abduction. There's a UFO sighting incident, like you
I
said.
would call it more of an incident from
Yeah.
what you've told me. It's more than a sighting.
Yeah. Well, there was a UFO incident
Is
in
that-
1980 we're
Is that
going
a
to talk
second
about.
kind close encounter?
Second kind, I think, is visual contact with the visual sighting of the inhabitants.
Okay, so this is...
And third is where there's like communication.
yeah. So this would still be like first, where you still see it. But
Yeah,
you just
it's
see
still a
it a lot closer.
CE1, but it was a big deal, and it involved ionizing radiation at a fuck ton of tumors.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that in another episode someday in the future.
So, and ionizing radiation also comes in a lot of different forms.
Flavors.
Flavor, yeah, I guess so. So you have
I like the chocolate cancer. Wait, no, sorry.
So you have UVC, I think it is,
Which is-
the bad
that's
UV.
Skin cancer.
Yeah, it
calls
gives you, so it'll hit your skin and give you skin cancer, but it's not strong enough or penetrating enough to get through your skin, so it's not going to cause like
Bone cancer.
yeah. But you have higher, not energy, higher wavelength. That's what I'm looking for.
Yes.
Because there's energy and wavelength, those two things.
Mm-hmm.
Energy means it has enough, oomph to knock out
Energy is
electrons.
speed.
But wavelength determines how deep it penetrates.
Yes.
And so higher wavelengths, say
Mm-hmm.
like, alpha and,
Yeah.
other radiation sources, X-rays, things like that, can
Mm-hmm.
penetrate deeper and cause ionizing events deeper in your tissue.
Yes. And that actually is how Marconi goes into the whole thing. He was trying to develop radar at the time.
Yeah.
He was experimenting with highway. You said high, right?
Yeah, higher
Higher wavelength.
higher frequency wavelength. Yeah, wavelength and
because
frequency basically are the same thing.
Because they use shortwave to do radar because it doesn't penetrate and it bounces back.
So I mean, in
In
EM,
essence,
in EM you have two actual what you call it, not categories, descriptors.
Sure.
Of it, frequency and wavelength.
yes,
They're similar, but not exactly the same.
right.
Because the wavelength is just your peak to peak,
Yeah.
energies, and the frequency.
That's
I
like
guess
the
they're close.
modulation, right? How
No.
fast it's going.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Frequency, basically, peak to peak is wavelength, and speed of its movement is your frequency. How
Sort
often,
of.
how quickly it peaks.
yes,
Yes.
close enough.
Yeah, close enough for me.
Close enough for government work.
Yes.
But anyway, so in fact, I want to go back to X-rays. X-rays are useful because
They penetrate all the damn way through.
No, they
No?
don't. They penetrate
Ooh.
only some things.
All
'cause
right. Fleshy
bones-
material,
yeah.
but not bone.
Yeah, bones block X-rays, but our muscles don't. And
Right.
the muscles do block some of it. So
Because you can see
the denser,
some muscles.
yeah, the denser your meat is, the more X-rays it blocks. That's why
Yes.
X-rays are so useful, because they're kind of on that borderline of absorption and going right through.
Yeah. I mean, they'll still give you fucking cancer.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, and because they,
I mean, yeah, it's okay. We're going to put you down on this table.
Yeah.
And
Because they
we're going to
have-
put on a lead apron and go 3 rooms away.
oh dude, when I used to hang sheetrock, we did a few doctors' offices with we had to hang lead line sheetrock.
Oh my
lead back
God.
sheetrock.
Yeah. No, I understand.
So I used to, when I was in my youth, dumb and full of anyway,
Piss and vinegar, right?
yeah, I was
Yes.
able to, I could carry a regular
Right.
sheet of sheetrock, like a 12-foot sheet of sheetrock by myself.
Yeah.
The lead back stuff only came in 8-foot sections.
Oh, no.
And 2 of us struggled to hold one of those sheets.
God damn.
Yeah, it's like, it's not twice as heavy. It's like 5 times heavier.
Well, it's fucking
Well,
lead.
It's lead, and it's just, it was just funny that they have a specialty product you can buy,
Oh.
lead back
Well,
sheetrock
yeah.
for doctors' offices.
I mean, that's, yeah, no, it totally
And
makes
there was
sense.
And then there was like lead stripping that we'd have to put between the joints. Like you'd put the lead stripping down, say, on the 2x4 where a joint would fall. So, no X-rays could get between the joints too.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, putting that stuff on the roof, the ceiling was a bitch.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
But luckily, some doctors' offices didn't need it because there was nothing above them except attic. So you actually didn't have to lead line the ceiling if there was no habitable spaces above them.
Oh, wow.
Because the X-rays are just gonna fuck off, go cause cancer to birds, I guess.
Yeah. Fucking birds.
Yeah. Maybe some mice living in your attic.
Yeah. Super mutant irradiated mice.
Yeah, that's a thought.
Yeah. So that
Tangent.
that went off on a place. But yeah, now again, the reason we're talking about this and he's talking about this is because ghosts.
Yeah, X-ray ghosts.
X-ray ghosts. And here's the thing, I kind of get it. Like, when you look at the stuff superficially, yeah, okay, because ghosts, one of the ghost hunting tools is an EM meter.
Yeah.
And I have to wonder how much of that comes from John Keel.
I mean, probably some. I'm sure some early ghost hunter, I can't call
Sure.
pro, but early ghost hunter read that and was like, "Ooh."
I
And then-
wonder.
And then, using
Yeah.
some weird, hacked together crystal radio, got some weird, signals.
Yeah.
The problem with, those kind of things is that, especially nowadays, nowadays it's kind of bad, but a lot of the stuff that we use is so high frequency, it's not going to register. But back in, like, say, the 40s through the 90s, when there was just so much, regular broadcasts going on.
Oh, yeah. And
People,
Keel talks about that. We'll go into that in a
companies were
minute.
fighting for spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they were just like when one of the first spectrum auctions went off. I remember when they first started auctioning off spectrums. Like I think it was
Now we're talking about like your radio station,
yeah. So in the
but you're talking about like broadcast television and
yeah
stuff.
when things first started going, broadcast first started going digital, like radio and
Yeah.
television. They brought the FCC. There we go.
Because the FCC won't let me
Yeah.
be. Sorry.
Did a thing where they took since digital signals don't need as much bandwidth, they started auctioning off the unused and redundant spectrum now. So, all right, back up a little bit.
All right.
When you have a TV station, so you have a frequency that's assigned to you.
Yeah.
You're supposed to. You're supposed to transmit on that frequency,
Right.
But there's buffer on either end,
so you don't have bleed over.
yeah. So you don't have bleed over.
Yeah,
You can have a cleaner signal and all that.
One of the things that blew my mind that people don't understand is that television and radio are all broadcast on the EMF, the electromagnetic spectrum. That's
all the same.
It's all on the same thing, because I had radios that you could pick up television audio because it had that broad of a range.
Yeah, and TV also would they would use more of their bandwidth, because they would transmit the audio on one carrier wave and the video on another.
Yeah, so if you had a TV that had like extra audio, you could switch over to the Spanish language version if there was one.
Well, that not only that, but also just the signals were separate. It wasn't just one.
Yeah, but
one
it
frequency
saved,
that was carrying both the audio and video.
No,
They
I understand that,
split.
but that way it also you could have better quality.
Yeah. So once they started going digital, there was a lot more spectrum, and they started auctioning off that. And
now, who bought that stuff?
So the first round, I don't know exactly who bought it, but the first round I remember being so hotly contested. Like, you had broadband providers and cell phone providers, and all these people just vying for this spectrum that was now free. And towards the end here, like more recently, the more recent ones, it's just been kind of
because who's using it?
Yeah, it's just digital signals have are so efficient at usage, and so the other thing is signal to noise ratio. Is that there's so much background noise, you have to be able to suss out the signal from that noise,
right?
And so digital is just so easy. Whereas so Kevin, you remember when you would use a dial on your radio.
Oh yeah,
no,
AM radio, man,
or even FM. You'd get it almost just right, but you'd still have like static, or it'd be kind of like the sound would be crunchy. Mm-hmm. That's because you were still getting some of that noise in your signal,
right? Because you weren't
just like
on
peanut
it.
butter in chocolate.
You were in the buffer.
Well, you were in you were not quite. You were not 100% tuned in.
Yes.
So digital is able to lock on to signals better and, filter out the noise, because they have error correction and all this built into the signal. So you can have a much more, say, crowded spectrum utilization.
Yeah.
So I now forgot where I was going with this.
We're just talking about the auctions.
Well, before that, where I started this.
Shit, I can't tell you, buddy.
I remember.
Okay, what's the point?
The ghost radio. What's that? What are those things called? The ghost radio things.
I think they're called ghost radios, actually.
The PKE meters.
Sort of.
No. But anyway, so those things, which are basically just hacked together or hacked up radios.
Yeah, they're basically it's like all the shielding and shit's been pulled off, so it can pick up interference.
Today, with so many signals being digital, that just sounds like static. That's just background noise. You're not going to suss out any kind of anything from it. But up through before the digital transitions, being saturated with analog signals, okay. So remember when we were filming, and
let me throw out there, we used to make short films.
Yeah, and through our hacked together, really long microphone cable, we started picking up Mexican shortwave radio.
Yes.
And this was let me describe the setup. It was just a camcorder, like a off the shelf, bought at
JVC
camcorder bought at a store. Not anything, not even prosumer, just whatever you'd film your freaking toddler's fifth birthday on or whatever.
We had a microphone in the car.
Yeah, it was a It was not even a condenser mic, just like a really basic. I'm trying to remember what kind of.
It used like just normal headphone cables to hook
and
up.
we had I had like a 50-foot headphone cable plugged into the camcorder on one end and run into the car. So we're doing it basically. The setup was like there was a camera in the driveway.
Back, yes.
No, it was set up in the driveway. In front of the car, we had a camera looking in through the windshield with, 2 people in the car.
We had another part behind it with headlights to obscure whatever was behind us.
But just a wire run alongside and into the car to a microphone stashed in the car. And then through some of the takes, we picked up very clear, sort of clear. It was very quiet, but clear.
Clear, but quiet.
Mexican radio, like a DJ or somebody, not a DJ, because I don't think there was any music.
There was a little music.
A little bit of music.
There was some mariachi.
It was talking. And, it through this setup, this thing that was not designed to pick up radio signals, obviously picked up radio signals.
Highly unshielded.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's the point, is that, any circuit that is designed to amplify can theoretically pick up a signal like that.
Well, yeah, and like in today's world, it's less common, but like when we were younger, if you were watching TV and somebody turned on a blow dryer in the house,
oh yeah,
your fucking picture is just fucked until their hair's dry.
Yeah. So my point is that, through the 80s and 90s, I could see use of stuff like that was just a lot more fruitful, because you would, and don't these like spirit box things like scan through randomly scan through signals?
The basic idea is it's basically just constantly going through the AM FM band, and you sit there and you hear noises and voices in the static and transitory stuff.
Yeah, and so you'd easily just be coming across stray signals of, some DJ saying some shit.
Yeah.
Or even just, other audio that sounds weird.
And speaking as a former shortwave enthusiast, you remember the antennas I had? I had 2-wire antennas that I would hook up, one plugged into the radio, and the other one was supposed to hook to the antenna on the shortwave. And what I would do is I would run the cable that plugs in around one wall of the room.
Yeah.
Then I would attach the other wire and run it around 2 other walls of the room. And it would give me pretty good reception to the point where I would manage to pick up audio from, like, Chinese radio stations that were probably being rebroadcast, but I did pick up a lot of stuff out of like North Carolina. I picked up audio from Radio Cuba, which was one of my favorites. And I'm pretty sure Castro had the DJ that was semi-pro American murdered.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, he did.
So radio frequencies and signals, I don't know what else to say about them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I understand, like, and it was probably easier to do back then, but it was also easier to pick up random weird shit because, Well, it's another thing about that is there's a new audio file format coming out that people are saying it could revolutionize the EVP world. You know what EVP is, right?
Yeah.
Electronic voice
phenomenon.
Thank you. I was about to say perineum. No, that's not it. And I'm like, because it's such a higher quality audio file, it can get more data, you know. And they're saying, oh, this could revolutionize it. I'm like, yes, or it could completely destroy it. Because you can hear what's actually there.
Well, yeah, I mean, all audio formats are basically compression, unless you're talking about, FLAC, but...
Right. Which we're not.
Yeah. And by compressing something, you always lose some fidelity and some information.
Yeah. But
Just
you can
by-
also gain weird stuff in that compression. Artifacts that can be misinterpreted as other things. It's kind of like all the digital shit from, digital visual distortions that people say are the lizard people.
Yeah.
Which there's been a couple where I'm like, man, if they're not a lizard person, that is the most unlucky. If they are a lizard person, I'm just saying. Like that, man, there's some fucked up ones.
I mean, how bad is their, disguised technology that it just fails at random intervals?
Oh, yeah, man. It's awful. Like that one dude. Have you seen that one video of that guy that's like one of Obama's bodyguards, and he turns his head and he just kind of turns into Voldemort for a second?
I think so.
Yeah, he looks like a normal bald dude, but like as he's turning his head, looking around, it just suddenly no nose, and his eyes get weird, and his ears get pointy and everything, and his head shape just completely changes. It's like, yeah, it's digital artifacting, but damn, that's some freaky digital artifacting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying I'm a believer in that, but man, if I were dumber.
It's like, when I first found out, so, I knew about MP3s and stuff for a while.
Oh, yeah, no.
But when I
Napster.
learned that MP3s came about because they modeled the human hearing response and figured out, how we heard sounds.
Really?
And were able to take an audio file, not someone that buys, monster cables, but
an audio FILE.
Yeah, an audio source, and compress it using an algorithm that knew how we heard things and basically threw away all the data that it figured we couldn't hear.
Oh, wow.
And that's what an MP3 is.
Holy crap, that's...
The problem is that it's like a 90 percentile model in that, 90% of the people, yes, that's their hearing range. But there are 10% of the people which most
have
audio
a
files
hearing
with
range.
pH think they're in that 10%, but can tell, there's something
Yeah.
off about it.
Yeah. No, I get that. I'm not one of those people, but I get that.
And of course,
And it's neat,
there were
actually.
quality settings, but yeah, in its basic terms, it just does that. It just is able to make assumptions about human hearing and compress.
Sometimes those aren't
that
right.
way. Well, yeah.
But, okay, so
And newer formats obviously do better at it.
Oh, yeah, no. And I can't wait to find out about these and go, I don't get it.
I mean, we have better formats now, like AAC, one of those. It's something
like
it
that.
has
That's
A's and C's in the
AAC, yes. Because
AAC.
that's, I think that's like a lot of audiobooks are in that format, which
Yeah,
I think is funny.
It's a lot better than
Yeah.
MP3, but
Yeah.
MP3 is kind of like the stalwart. Everybody knows it. In fact, if you listen to any streaming
It's like the
stuff,
CD of
digital
media.
digital files,
Digital files.
audio
yes.
files. But no, if you listen to anything streaming, it's never an MP3 anymore. It's usually AAC or
Yes.
some other, newer format.
Yeah. So there's something I need to talk about
Sure,
that he mentions
yes.
in the book involving, now that we've had another tangent.
Yes, please divert us
Yes,
from this tangent back to the
involving-
rails.
Yeah, let's get back off the rails real quick, okay? So one of his things, he makes this statement as proof of the super spectrum. And I'm going to say this, Mike, and
Yes. I'm listening.
I'm waiting for you to throw your headphones off and storm out of the room. He says that science now completely accepts the idea of sentient radiation.
What science is he inferring?
I'm guessing he's smoking it.
I mean, no.
No, there's several statements like that, but that's the one that really stuck with me so far. And I'm not done. I'm like 20% of the way through this book, and it's already knee-deep in cuckoo bananas.
I mean, like I said earlier about, nuggets of truth and perverting it. It's like I mean, that's that
And
statement.
that's one of his bases for the ultra-terrestrials living in the EM.
That statement that takes it from misguided understanding to almost malicious.
Is this Kanye levels?
No, I mean that is just a lie. I mean,
no, well, I'm sure he meant like a guy, and that guy.
Maybe if he knows someone who might be like a material science who has weird, wacky beliefs,
we're talking about,
but
John Keel, and
but no high energy physicist would say,
"Oh God, no.
Yes, there's sentient radiation."
No. And I'm saying that this being John Keel and knowing the circles he moved in is complete. This isn't like J. Allen Hynek, the one of those UFO researchers I would trust. The guy that was a fucking physicist that became a believer.
Yeah.
Or like Stanton Freeman, nuclear physicist, got into UFOs. No, John Keel. I don't even know what John Keel did for a living before somebody saw UFOs. I guess he was just sitting there going, hope somebody sees something weird soon. But like, the circles he moved in, I can completely see him having run into like 3 different people that told him, yeah, no, dude, radiation's like totally alive. I could see him running into that, and I still don't think it was malicious on his part.
I mean, I don't mean malicious like he meant ill will. I think it's more of he made shit up and believed it.
Yeah, I think he gathered like information from people, and that information wasn't correct, and he put it all together. And like it's like maybe, trying to build a building on eggs.
Maybe someone he trusted said this, science accepts sentient radiation.
Maybe. And one of the things
that's a banana boat statement.
That is really insane. Like here's another great thing is a lot of the books me and David read for this show thankfully have references. Like you could, it lists where it gets information.
Yeah.
And admittedly, sometimes you go back and you're like, well, you completely misread that. But they cite their sources. John Keel does not do that. All right. John Keel does not do that. And holy Lord, I can't wait to finish this book, and we'll do like a full-on episode about the super spectrum. But I knew that sentient radiation thing would really kick in the gonads.
Yeah.
And that's his theory, is that it's the ultra terrestrials or sentient radiation.
So yeah, that was the piece I was missing at the very beginning, which is they don't live in the spectrum. They are
the spectrum.
Yeah, that's just wow.
Yeah, they're living wavelengths within the EMF. I know. Wow.
They're the living color mauve.
Wait, Mike. You remember in the Hitchhiker's Guide?
What about
a hyper-intelligent
shade of blue? Yes.
Yeah, a hyper-intelligent shade of blue. Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, it's more of like ultra blue because it's, so high in the spectrum.
Yeah. Speaking of spectrum, I got questions about Keel, but, I'm going to look into that. Yeah.
Others. You're talking about other spectrums.
Yes. Well, Mike, we've been talking about this for an hour.
Wow, that was a lot more than we expected.
That's way more than because I'm sitting.
Because I went on like 30 tangents.
Well, I mean, I'm sitting there at the 12-minute mark, going, "There's no way I'm gonna have enough shit, and Mike's gonna have enough shit to get past 15 minutes."
Luckily, I had enough rum, and that propelled us down several chutes.
And it was insane enough that you had stuff to work with.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, let's do some questions.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. So, as usual, we're going to start with Mr. Ghost Forge. You know, I don't want to misgender him. Ghost Forge, for both of you.
So the esteemed Ghost Forge.
The esteemed Ghost Forge.
So I was just about to say, so how do you, like, give...
They.
Well, no, I mean, but so, you know, we have Mr. as kind of like an elevated, you know, respectful version.
Like with Mr. David Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, not to
There's
like,
Miss
I'm not gonna,
and Mrs. and Madam.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, like, not saying this as a, you know, oh, how do we, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying there needs to be a, like,
Mrs.
bigger version of them. And a more
of them.
Yeah, more
Okay.
titled version of them.
The esteemed works.
Yeah.
I like that. And then there's the
Themperor.
You heard it here first, folks. Themperor is now the Mr. of non-gender specific terms. So everybody start using Themperor.
Themperor. What does Themperor Ghost Forge ask of us?
Oh my god, actually I was just gonna say something else there. Let's not forget my favorite insulting non-gender specific term, you tubby bitch. So,
I don't know, that seems a little feminine.
Bitch is non-gender specific to me.
Yeah,
Mike, you a bitch.
Sort of.
You're a bitch.
It does convey certain...
Sure, but language evolves, and we can make it happen.
I mean...
We are the ionizing radiation on the DNA of language.
I will call anybody a dick.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean it doesn't naturally have some gendered connotations.
That's
because
fair.
being a body part that is usually
male. Yeah.
But anyway,
Themperor Ghost Forge.
Yes.
And you're welcome for that. For both of you, Tolkien's idea that the universe is made of music, how much stock/belief do the both of you respectively have in it?
What do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Yeah, because I've read chunks of the Silmarillion. I know what he's talking about. Yeah. Iluvatar, I can't remember the first part of that name, but the big good god of Tolkien's universe began singing to create the universe, and the the angel types like Gandalf and them.
Yeah.
And the higher versions, the Einar and all that stuff. They sang along, and Satan came when Melkor sewed a discordant harmony into it, and that's where evil comes into the world.
Yeah.
And the basic idea is that the universe was created by music.
Yeah.
And the universe is it's not even so much how it's made of music, it's more of the universe is a song.
Yeah.
And evil is the discordant non-harmony.
So it's a musical. So what you're saying is Peter Jackson should have made musicals of the Lord of the Rings.
Where's your gun? No, no, that's not even it.
But from what you're saying, it sounds like it should have been.
They could have done that, and I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, I'm Aragorn.
Then it would really be easy to have Tom Bombadil.
Oh, fuck you. There's a nobody knows what Bombadil is, by the way.
I think it's Tolkien. That's his self-insert.
See, that's what some people say, but I think Bombadil is just an embodiment of the song, because he says he was there before anything else came to Middle-earth, which is impossible unless he's a byproduct of the existence of the universe.
He's you know how, like, in a song it'll like trail off and just be like, you know,
the fade out?
Fade out. Yeah, that's Tom Bombadil. He's just the fade out of the creation song.
You know, that makes as much sense as any other theory I've ever heard online. But, like, I love how people talk about Bombadil, like, you know, shows up, hands out swords, flips around, and puts on the One Ring with no consequence, and then just fucks off for the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've not read the stories, but I've heard talk of
Oh, yeah.
Bombadil.
Hey ho, Dario,
anyway.
Tom Bombadillo.
Back to the question.
Yeah.
How's
I
that
don't
sound
put
to you?
stock in it, and I don't believe it, considering it was written by Tolkien, who made up the entire thing to have an excuse to write music in a language he made up. But I think it's a beautiful idea, and as the basis of a religion, you can do a lot worse than saying we are the embodiment of beauty.
I don't know, Kevin. Maybe the Big Bang was just a shredding power chord, just a no, just a this that power chord hit, just like that's what I think the Big Bang sounded like.
Oh yeah, no. Oh, like those mines in the second Star Wars prequel.
Except better.
Badass, not badass. There is no badass.
But no. I mean, I think it's the other way around. That the universe makes music.
No, I think that's true as well. But
Music made the universe.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, like, no, I agree. The universe is music. It is music, but it isn't made of music. It makes music. I agree with that. Which, in a way, is more beautiful to me. Nature is a musical cacophony that I'm sure if you could step back enough and hear all of it, it would be stunning.
Or just sound like, 56K modem tones.
It just sounded like a fucking chicken house in the middle of summer. Just nothing but chicken sounds and fart noises. That's it. That's all the universe would be.
In a just world, yes.
Yeah, so I don't believe that. I don't put stock in it, but I think it's a beautiful idea. And, if I were to have to start a religion, yeah, okay, the Church of Eddie Van Halen. Yeah, let's go with it. So we have a question from Holly.
Jolly Christmas?
No, David's Holly.
I know.
If your home were under siege a la Hopkinsville, but you could choose the cryptid, which would you choose and why?
Under siege? Come on, give me some context.
Okay, the Hopkinsville Goblins.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a family. It's a family. It's two families of carnies playing poker, and then goblins attack.
Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, and they're just shooting at them for hours before running into town once they disappear. So if you could choose the cryptids in that situation, what would you choose and why?
I think anything else would pose more of a threat.
I'd go with the goblins because honestly, it kind of sounds like one of them old school shooting galleries.
Yeah, it sounds like they were just like having fun and like taunting.
Oh yeah,
like to believe the as stated happenings.
Yeah,
it just sounds like they were just messing with people, like going, "Oh, shoot at me! Oh no, you missed!"
Oh well, no, they didn't miss. They'd hit them. It would make a thong sound, and then they would like flip backwards and giggle, running off into the woods.
Yeah, if that was the like chupacabra or some shit, you'd be dead.
Oh no, yeah, no, they'd
Wendigo just tear
clawing through the windows and shit.
Bigfoot,
oh no,
would have thrown rocks at you,
dude. Yeah, no, that Bigfoot Ape Canyon, that shit happened. It did not go well.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't see it going well unless it's like ghosts, like just shooting at ghosts. They can't really do anything except like move your bowls around.
The only thing I'd worry about is if I had like
That's not really a cryptid.
12 or 13. Well, you know what they mean. Anytime somebody says cryptid these days, they mean anything within the range of the paranormal, which is, I really want to take cryptid back for the possibly existing animals.
Yeah.
But, no, ghosts, I mean, the worst that could happen is you've got like a 13-year-old daughter going through puberty and it's activating her psychic stuff and you have a poltergeist scenario, which we need to talk about poltergeists in an episode.
Poltergeists.
Poltergeists.
Yeah.
I would honestly, I'd just go with the goblins because that would be way more fun than anything else.
Sounds like the best case scenario.
Really. I think they had the best case scenario because if it was the Greys,
I mean, anything else is gonna like fight back, shoot back,
or
kill you,
freeze you, take you on the ship, and do things.
Probulate you.
Yeah, I don't want to get probulated, so I'm gonna go with the goblins. Yeah, I hate to say it, Holly. We're both pretty much just them goblins.
Anything else is just a nightmare.
Yep, pretty much. All right, and we've got one last question from Mr. David Davis.
So he's gonna not be on the show, but he's gonna ask us questions. I see how it's gonna.
Hey, as long as he's on the show somehow. Yeah. So he has a question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the best pop culture depiction of Bigfoot ever? I watched a Goofy movie today, and I think that movie has a strong contender. And I remember, I thought that was in the second one, but no, that was the first one. Because they were driving to go to that concert.
So,
what was it? Powerline or?
Oh yeah.
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 Well, they weren't going to the concert, and then Max fucked them over.
I don't think I've ever seen a Goofy movie.
It's really good, actually. It really shows you, hey, I think Pete is like physically abusing his son.
Ooh, that's kind of a little dark,
it gets dark a little.
All right, so best so no matter what we think the best depiction of Bigfoot is,
what we think it is.
Yeah, we can definitely agree that it's not going to be the movie that came out like last year. There was like Son of Bigfoot.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Which has implications.
Yeah,
not even implications. It's straight up stated that Bigfoot, had sexual relations.
Well, there's
with a lady.
Look, here's the thing. There is enough Bigfoot erotica online that I could believe, and it's written by women, that I could believe that Bigfoot showed up and was like,
"Hey, baby,
how you doing?"
And
she just like, ah,
could you?
And then like snail trails.
Pitching that movie to an exec to a studio. All right, so this kid's mom, he's half Bigfoot because his mom had sex with Bigfoot.
Mike, I'm gonna ruin your night. That was 5 years ago.
That was 5 years ago? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I thought it was like last year or the year before.
Yep. No. And do you remember in that movie when we saw the clips, Bigfoot was wearing blue jeans?
Yeah.
He had like, I'm looking at a picture. He has Reed Richards stripes.
Oh yeah, no, I remember. But the most, I think we may have mentioned this before, but the most batshit thing is he had magic powers.
Magic powers. And the kid said, "I have magic Bigfoot powers."
What the fuck?
What magic Bigfoot power? Bigfoot's power is
blurry.
Yeah, not getting shot often.
And being blurry.
Oh no. Oh no. They just showed a picture of his mom.
Yeah.
This freaky bitch.
All right, don't kink shame.
I'm just saying, dude, like I'm sitting here going, okay, that's Bigfoot, sure. But great, you're looking it up now.
Of course I'm going to look it up now. What am I not going to look it up?
Oh no, Mike, he's aware Bigfoot because they have a picture of Bigfoot. The man, is like a normal dude that turns into a Bigfoot. What the fuck?
This is just a weird movie. Anyway, so this is not it.
This is
terrible, awful. We should probably hate watch it. Just for funsies.
Yep, never again.
No, I mean we should hate watch it. We should watch it as a group and talk about it sometime.
Oh, I love the fandom for this one character in the movie that goes to the kid's school, and the character's name is just Girl. It's literally unnamed character. Just says on the there's a Son of Bigfoot wiki website.
Oh God.
And the girl's name is fucking Girl.
Oh, whoa! That's just
that is way more than I thought there was gonna be, dude.
Yeah, no, that's a thing. It's quite a thing. What? So anyway, do you want to go first? What's your?
You know what? I was gonna say what we talked about earlier.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with the Legend of Boggy Creek.
as the best depiction of Bigfoot.
Yeah, sure. The dude in the ghillie suit and that song and everything. I can get with that. Also,
Okay.
they don't. I wanted to give that other one to you because I do really like The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Well, I think you have personal ties to it, so whatever. But I guess I would have to say, because it's really the only one I could think of, was Harry and the Hendersons. Did I said that right?
You did that time, yes.
I keep saying it Henry and the Hendersons, which is not right.
Henry and the Harrisons.
Henry and the Harrisons.
Oh my God, Mike! Do you know what the name of the family is in Son of Bigfoot?
Huh.
The Harrisons.
Of course it is.
It's the goddamn Harrisons.
Well, on Rotten Tomatoes, the tomato meter for Son of Bigfoot is 75%,
What the fuck?
but a 41% audience score.
You goddamn right.
But yeah, no, I mean, Harry and the Hendersons. And then the movie, not the TV show. The TV show was god awful.
Yes.
It was like, the TV show was like Alf, if Alf was not funny.
Yeah. It had the suit from the movie, and it had the same guy playing Bigfoot, Harry,
Yeah.
in the show, which was Kevin Peter Hall.
All right.
He played the Predator,
Yeah.
and he was also in Misfits of Science.
You mean the show that didn't exist?
Shut up! It existed. It was great. He was super tall, and in Misfits of Science, he was like really upset about that, and he wanted to be normal size. And he accidentally gave himself the ability to shrink, but only to like super tiny and not his clothes. So there was a shocking amount of naked black man on that '80s TV show.
In that 80s TV show that didn't exist.
Shut up! It fucking existed. It was awesome.
You keep saying it, but I have no memory of such a place.
Fuck off. It was a great show.
Yes.
Anyway, point is, you're probably right. Mine is more personal, and yours is objective. The movie.
I mean, I haven't seen it in probably 30 years. So
Oh
I
no,
can't
but it's
say.
kind of like John Lithgow in it and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I totally get that. So yeah, I think I think we have determined that it was actually Harry and the Hendersons.
Hender and the Harrisons.
No. And then Ghost Forge posted this freaking comic called "That Time I Got Sent to Another World, but I'm a Sasquatch, so I have no frame of reference for what's happening."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. And Holly's comment of them some buttery squatch nips.
Yeah, no, that is quite the pose orangutan there.
Yeah. That is certainly the pose orangutan. God, I want to throw that into a fucking Poe gathering so bad. But yeah, thanks for the questions, guys. Again, hopefully David will be back up to scratch next week, and we can come back and talk about some Men in Black, because, man, that is going to be some fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun talking about those Will Smith movies.
Oh, you fucking wish.
We are the Men in Black.
Galaxy Defenders. Yeah, okay, great. You got me to do that. Shut up. So, that's it for this week. You can find everything about the show on supernatpod.rocks, including our news store, a new post in the news section about me, Peter, and, links to the Discord. You can find us now on Mastodon. You can find us at SuperNatPod at horrorhub.club. We're still on Twitter, but we are not really posting there. You can basically find us there. Again, find us on the Discord. We have a lot of fun on there. You want to ask us questions, that is a great place to do it. We also have a Patreon that's going to have bonus stuff, including probably more of these, but more where I deliberately try to destroy you, Mike.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Yes. So, yeah, we'll be back next week with Men in Black or whatever the title's going to be. And we'll see you then. So until next time, stay safe and stay frosty. Goodbye.
Good night.
Living radiation.
Oh, God. No.
Yeah.
Living ass cheeks.
Living orange butt cheeks. Orange. All right.